So as we start with character transformation, I've put from an individual consumer to a connected participant, from isolated to belonging, from being a subject to being a citizen. We zoom back up to the top of the story where we start with our character and what do they want? Now this is trying to speak to that broad citizen who doesn't necessarily fully understand the nuances of what we're talking about, but how can they relate to what we do? So I think in general, across society, people know there's something wrong. They have an itch, something isn't right. They feel uninformed and powerless on how to find a better way. They are looking for hope and meaning. Now in our story, every great story has a villain, and I personified it with the honey monster. Having grown up on Sugar Puffs, I thought he was a great example of how the food system can be made to look friendly, but ultimately there is a nice villain there, representing a global, industrial, addictive food system built to exploit ignorance and innocence. So that's our villain. Now, when we think about our character, if you remember, he has a problem. Problem is externally, people are trapped in an unsustainable system that is addictive and hopeless. Internally, that makes them feel sad and hopeless. They're not always sure why, but that's the feeling that people tend to be able to express. Philosophically, it's wrong that people can't access real food that offers a more sustainable and meaningful future. So they meet a guide. Now I need a little bit of help from you guys to flesh this out, but ultimately empathy within the story, the guide should always show empathy to the internal problem that the character in the story feels. So we need to speak to that feeling that they're stuck, and it's very simple how we do that. We just simply give voice to it. We know how stuck and hopeless the news stories make you feel. The authority we have is the piece I need some help on. We are working with, for example, X number of farmers and communities around the world to transform the food system, recover our land and table for all people, regardless of age, race, or class. This is something that needs fleshing out, but what is the thing that gives this collective in Birmingham authority? And that can be drawn from the authority of others, from Slow Food, from the farmers we work with, from the initiatives you've already done, but we give some weight that will mean something to the citizens in Birmingham that will want to get around this project. We then need to give them a plan. Now at this stage we're really building our tribe and our followership and our community that are going to make this project possible. So the plan's quite simple at this stage. We're trying to build a following. Join our tribe on a mission to reimagine the food system in our city. Sign up to our newsletter to follow the story. Volunteer to join our events as we begin a revolution in the second city. Something along those lines, something aspirational. You can cast a vision of the future in the plan, but StoryBrand's very strong. Have a 3-step plan, super simple steps to move people from reading about what you do to beginning to engage with it and belong to it. That may just be simply signing up to the newsletter at this stage. We then need to call people to action. So join our newsletter and become a member of the movement. We want to think about that mechanism. We want to make it effective. The sooner we get it in place and the sooner we build continuity in using that channel of communication, the better for the momentum of the project. There's a transitional call to action. Not everybody wants to join a newsletter. So what will they do if they don't? We need to give them something of value. This could be improved on. I've simply put in here at the moment, download our vision document to understand what is wrong with the food system and how we are pioneering a change in the heart of the city for all. This could be something that maybe solves a problem to someone. It could be something about 5 ways you can eat differently to change the food system and be part of the revolution. Something that meets a need that makes them think, oh, actually, I'd be interested in that. Download our visual documents, probably a bad start to this. But what could we create? What resource could we create that has a hook to our audiences across the spectrum, that may encourage people to download that, a little gift to them? They normally say if it's worth £10 or more, and that can still be a PDF, it could still be a video, but if it's worth £10 or more, it really genuinely drives people to then give the email address, begin the conversation. So what does this story look like? If that character finds that hope and meaning, finds that transformation they are looking for, what does success look like at the end? This is that climatic scene, that hero moment in the film. What happens when the garden has flourished on top of the car park and people are being inspired by that space? Well, people of all ages, from all communities across the city, engage with a real food revolution. They're growing, volunteering, and changing the way they eat. The project inspires learning, sharing, and the transformation of the food system. People feel that they belong to something that brings hope and meaning. Consumers are empowered to be part of a revolution solution, linear to circular, recipients to participants, consumers to citizens. The project has a measurable impact of the health and happiness of the city. And the project is a seedbed and a catalyst for other initiatives that transform communities around the city. And underneath every story, the thing that makes a story real, tense, that brings narrative tension, that holds you in the story, is the possibility of failure. And if this organization and initiative doesn't have the risk of failure, then it's really, why are we getting out of bed? Why are we doing this? And in this case, if we don't do this, the industrial model prevails with excessive waste and the ultimate collapse of the planet. Citizens remain isolated and victims of an exploitive and extractive system, and the divide between communities and income groups widens. Visionary farming projects that can change the world never take root and fail. Now, we can flesh all of these out and change them, but you can begin to see how we have structured our narrative. Some of these things may be a bit extreme. The language may be overstated. We may feel it's too, there may be some political insensitivities in some of the words. There's a lot of testing to do, refining to do. But as you can see, we start to hone in on our story, and we're able to begin to communicate that together and join everybody up around that story, which ultimately is the essence of our mission. So this really addresses the problem of mission. When you try and articulate a mission statement, here is your mission statement. This is your story, and this is how we can answer many of those questions too. So I am able to share this. If you're able to log into it, you can then see all the boxes. Sometimes if it's just a PDF, it's a bit too long in some of the boxes and things get cut off. But if you can manage to sign up to mystorybrand.com and get a login, you can potentially open the Brandscript and look at it and even make it your own and make a version for yourself. It's a fantastic little bit of software. Writing a story Brandscript makes you answer succinctly the very core questions of what makes a great story. So really, really excited to keep honing this with you, get feedback. These ultimately are your words. That listening exercise we did was to draw out your words. The people that have been part of this project have very much initiating this project, have very much formed these words and helped inform the story. Oh, there I am, reflecting in the screen. So thank you to everyone. Hopefully this is a little bit of helpful helpful inspiration to get the ball moving. Very happy to do maybe another exercise where we hone and refine this together. We call it wordsmithing, chiseling away at those words, refining that narrative, because when we get that narrative really sharp and we share that narrative, it becomes super powerful in building the success of the project.